It all started with a beautiful and terrifying sight, a celestial event that announced the end of humanity. Star spirits fell from the sky that bestowed incredible talents, but with these gifts came something much more sinister. Nature itself woke up, twisting into monstrous forms. The very structure of the world began to change. But before all that, our story starts in a boring office. A young planner's proposal is brutally rejected. They tell him to pack his things and leave. Outside, two colleagues are discussing what just happened. One of them points out that the idea was really good, but the boss doesn't care. Someone had to be the scapegoat. He blatantly steals the idea for his own team. Our protagonist is stunned by the betrayal. This is Kano Taka, a novice game planner. He vents to his only supporter, an online friend, a friend with an embarrassing name, but a good heart. Kano accepts that his big opportunity will not come. Look at a picture of his family, his motivation. He can't stand letting down people who believe in him. Suddenly, his friend's message starts to get distorted. A strange countdown appears on his screen. He wonders if it's some kind of new virus, but it's not just his computer. It's all the screens in the office. A message appears. Welcome to the world of a real game. The outside world begins to shake and crumble. Kano looks at the screen in disbelief. The title on the screen is that of your stolen proposal. A monster appears outside, but they dismiss it as a promotion. The creature breaks the glass, its jaws open to claim them all. The office party ends with a scream and a splash of red. Panic erupts as the survivors fight for their lives. On a broken screen, a last message from his friend flashes. A blinding flash of light consumes everything, but Kano's only thought is to get home. He desperately calls his sister, Nozomi. He tells her to hide, promising that he will be there soon. With one call made, he prepares for another. He hesitates to mark his ex, whom he rejected, but his finger moves of its own accord. He knows that this is no time for personal regrets. Just then, the beast crashes into the stairwell behind them. His open mouth closes on the terrified crowd, and in a moment of pure cowardice, his boss pushes him forward. I guess this is one way to handle a bad performance appraisal. Kano can only stare, his family flashes before his eyes. It plummets towards a gruesome end, but from heaven comes an unexpected savior. A missile hits the creature, which erupts in a fiery explosion. Kano is thrown out of the monster's path, hitting the ground hard. His consciousness fades into darkness. A memory resurfaces. The day he broke up with a girl named Sarah, he called himself a background character, unworthy of his world. His eyes open full of a new fire. He is alive, kneeling in the heart of a burning city, beaten and broken, but still breathing. Using a piece of rebar as a support, he forces himself to stand up. His family is waiting. He can't give up. He finally understands that his game is now his reality, and across the horizon, the war for this new world has already begun. Kano struggles with the impossible truth of his new reality. A horrible vision flashes in his mind, the fate of his sister. Her heart is shattered as she screams for her family. Driven by rage and pain, he charges at the beast hit on, but his desperate attack is met with overwhelming force. He collapses, wondering if a background character can even dream. The armed tongue of the monster approaches for the final blow. His life ends on a spike, asking the universe to repeat it. And just like that, she wakes up in a crowded school hallway. His classmates ask him if he's okay, calling him by his old name. An advertisement declares that it is a crucial day for all juniors. Not only is he alive, he's been sent back to high school. This world is different, but he doesn't care. He has been reborn. This time, he vows to rewrite his destiny with his own hands. Suddenly, a colossal watch appears, because subtlety is overrated. A strange sound draws his attention upwards. Her eyes widen with increasing horror. It's the same countdown that announced the end of your world. He points it out, but no one else seems to see it. He is the only one who remembers, the only one who knows. This is not a second chance. It's a death loop. He is forced to relive the memory of his family's death. But then the game gives him a main character trick. The hands of the great clock begin to move. The very structure of time seems to change around him. The gears of fate are turning in his favor. The countdown flashes. The numbers are scrambled into something new. Your deadline has been extended by an entire year. A system window details your unique hidden talent, creator. He learns that he can have 4 talents, an unheard of privilege. He questions the paradox of this new reality. A memory of his online friend sparks a far-fetched theory, but he quickly dismisses it as a coincidence. Right now, his only goal is to extend the countdown. He will do whatever it takes to buy more time. He vows to stop the apocalypse he helped create. But first, there's something you need to confirm. He separates himself from the crowd by ignoring their protests. He has no memories of this life, only the previous one. Her eyes scan the crowd, looking for a familiar face, and there is her sister, Nozomi, alive and well. Overwhelmed with relief, he pulls her into a desperate embrace. He makes a silent vow to never let her go again. She can feel him shaking, confused by his intensity. Public displays of affection are clearly not his thing. She frantically asks about her parents, earning a strange look. Their little reunion is interrupted by a thunderous voice from the stage. And, of course, the professor is identical to his former boss. Then the teacher calls the last 2 third-year students to the stage. A girl with long dark hair stands up from the crowd. Kano freezes. It's his ex, the one he rejected. Notice that she hasn't changed one bit. The crowd murmurs, gossiping about the school star and his failure. She turns to him, ready to face his trial together. He walks with a newfound confidence, but his mind is elsewhere. The teacher begins to explain the awakening ceremony. In this world, everything is decided by a single metric, the rank of stars, a number, that dictates the entire future of a person. He calls it the most important measure of their lives. The process is simple. Tap the device and reveal your destination. The teacher announces that it's time for the school star, Hager. A bright light bursts out, revealing an incredible range of 16 stars. The crowd erupts in praise for her school's super elite, but the praise quickly turns into taunts directed at Kano. Her sister, Nozomi, intervenes, ready to defend her honor. She believes in him even when no one else does. Kano takes a step forward, reflecting on the cruel classification system of this world. He is getting ready to face his new destiny. The result is nothing. He can't wake up. The whole school erupts in laughter and ridicules. Even the professor joins in savoring her public humiliation. But a hidden system window tells a different story. His creative talent has just exhausted the whole machine. The instructors panic when the valuable device turns off. They discover that the energy core has been completely emptied. The teacher demands a recharge, but it's not that simple. He sees this as the perfect opportunity to crush Kano completely. Kano feels the challenge and decides to play along. Activates his ability again, draining even more hidden energy. The professor is furious, blaming his staff for the malfunction. The technician trembles, unable to explain the phenomenon. Fed up, the teacher decides to move on to the next phase. A trial dungeon is open for all newly awakened students, but Kano is banned from entry, deeming him unworthy of participating. His classmates, now dressed in armor, look at him with contempt. Sarah approaches, surprised by his calm demeanor. He can't understand how he, of all people, couldn't wake up, but Kano is brimming with a confidence he's never seen. Just then, a new contender appears to steal his girl. He declares them the perfect couple, chosen by the gods themselves. Sarah unleashes her power. Her statistics confirm her elite status. With a single glance, he tells the challenger to back off. His sheer intimidation sends him and his henchmen scattering. He retires, but not before promising to settle accounts inside the dungeon. Kano tries to explain, but Sarah seems to misunderstand his calmness. She admits that she is not disappointed, just frustrated for his sake. He declares that he will become strong enough to protect them both. A memory resurfaces of a promise he once made to her. Kano realizes that the roles have been completely reversed. So much for being the hero. The professor's voice interrupts the moment, officially exiling Kano. But on the stage, another professor begins a surprising speech. He questions the very basis of the cruel hierarchy of his world. The director is furious, but man simply blames the madness of the world. And then the assembly takes a very unexpected turn. He's not alone. The entire faculty reveals its monstrous forms. His plan has been in the works for years, all by this time. He issues a simple and terrifying order: kill them all. Panic consumes the room while the students are married. And so, the clock of the end of the world is ticking 20 days. Kano realizes that his knowledge of the future is already becoming obsolete. He needs a new plan, and the system offers him a salvation, a personal inventory. But most of it is useless without a talent. But one item stands out, a gift from his mysterious friend, X. It is a map of the school, which reveals all its secrets. He buys it instantly. The map immediately charts a course towards her sister's location. He finds Nosoni, who seems to have awakened a unique trait. There is no time for questions. He grabs her by the hand and pulls her to safety. When he touches it, his creator ability starts to activate. She is surprised to see that her sister's star rank is almost as high as Sarah's. It seems that her little sister is one of the hidden elites of this world. The system explains the 3 pillars of a player's strength. It's a simple formula. Level per star rank is equal to power. As a game planner, Kano finds the system surprisingly balanced. While the gods make the rules, there are ways to break them. The maximum power in this world is the 0-star rank, the sun, but Kano's creator talent exists outside the known universe. Its range is not 0, it is infinite. The system offers her a choice: copy her sister's rank talent. Meanwhile, the monster teacher unleashes his fury on the students. Nozomi is paralyzed by fear, unable to move a muscle. The monster aims at her, ready to attack, but Kano moves like lightning, pushing her to safety. He responds to the monster's attack with a punch of his own. The beast roars, furious at the unranked boy's interference, but the impact shatters his arm, making him stagger in pain. He cannot understand how an unawakened student has such power. Kano reveals himself, his new stats shine for all to see. He has copied a fighting talent, spending points to become a warrior. The monster dismisses it as luck, refusing to accept defeat. Kano responds with a devastating uppercut to the jaw. Suddenly, the monster begs for his life, playing the victim, but Kano remembers his threat to his sister. There will be no mercy. With one final explosive punch, the fight is over. Lands, the monster defeated in just 2 hits. A system window confirms your victory and rewards you with bonus points. Nozomi is stunned, but Kano tells her that it's time to leave. The other students rally behind him, their new hero. He tells his sister that they need to hide, not run away. The students arrive at the door and find a strange barrier of light, but the school bully pushes his way through, fed up of waiting. The bully scoffs, calling them all fools for hesitating. He touches the barrier and is instantly enveloped in a flash of light. A violent explosion sends him and his cronies flying backwards. The students are stunned by the brutal instant karma. Around him, others begin to scream, collapsing in agony. A girl's sanity reaches 0, and a dark power begins to consume her. The monster master laughs, revealing a hidden danger: falling sanity. A system window confirms this. Low sanity means low power. Kano realizes that this world has rules that he did not write. He can see everyone's sanity, a crucial tool for survival. Their first priority is to find a safe area to regroup. Their friend's map reveals a single sanctuary, the gym, but a desperate cry for help stops them in their tracks. A girl named Mina is on the floor, her sanity critically low. Kano tries to push his sister away, warning her that it's too late, but Nozomi refuses to abandon her best friend. He runs next to Mina with a phone and a pair of headphones. It's an app called Silver Key, designed to restore sanity for a price. Of course, the app offers different modes for different levels of distress. Mental. Kano can't help but notice that capitalism survived the apocalypse, but Mina, lost in fear, violently refuses help. His sanity plummets steel, and the transformation is complete. Nozomi watches in horror, realizing that she failed. Her best friend is now a mindless beast with tentacles. The creature lashes out, aiming a deadly blow at its former friend. Kano intervenes, catching the attack with his bare hands. Effortlessly, he redirects the monster's momentum. A single powerful kick sends the creature reeling. Kano knows there's only one way this can end. He prepares to give his sister's friend a merciful release. With a disgusting crunch, the monster is reduced to nothing. A system window confirms the death, rewarding Kano with points. But Nozomi is lost in despair, blaming her own kindness for the tragedy. She believes that her compassion is not a virtue, but a fatal weakness. She begs her brother to please her foolish heart just this once, but Kano sees only strength, promising to protect her until she finds her herself. The system intervenes with a new mission, to save students and get bonus points. Nozomi is confused by his words, but he simply offers her his hand. He promises to always support her no matter what she chooses. With the help of his brother, he finds the strength to get back on his feet. Her new plan is simple: navigate the chaos and find a sanctuary. Nozomi suggests the school shelter, but Kano knows it's a trap. The transformed teachers know every corner of this school, which makes it a death trap. He has a different place in mind, the school gym. Inside, dozens of students are huddled together, paralyzed with fear. Kano scans the crowd, having gathered the key players for his plan, but his leadership is immediately challenged by a high-ranking student. Kano assures everyone that he has a way out, but they demand answers. Calmly, he picks up a basketball, claiming that he has his salvation. With a smile, he mentions the old ghost stories about this very gym. The students are puzzled by his sudden change of subject. The challenger, Arata, accuses him of wasting valuable time, but Nozomi intervenes, her faith in her brother unwavering. Others who saw him fight back her by silencing the doubters. Tensions rise as the survivors begin to attack each other. Kano breaks the tension, telling them that now is not the time to fight. He gives them an ultimatum: trust his crazy blueprint, and leave and face certain death. Intrigued, Harada decides to bet on the miracle and stays to watch. With the group united, the beam of the basketball team offers its help. Kano accepts the handshake by copying a new talent: basketball, the ultimate combat sport. Find a girl with a high-ranking precision talent. He copies it off, offering some unsolicited life advice. The system confirms the copy, leaving you with a space. Her new friends are understandably confused. But Kano isn't just collecting talents, he's merging them. Basketball and accuracy are merged into a new skill to improve statistics. He immediately puts his new skills on display. The students are stunned by his impeccable form. He sinks the shot, but they still don't understand his plan. But this is just the warm-up. He leaps from the free throw line, defying gravity itself, and finishes with a powerful dunk that shakes the rim. Then a perfect three-pointer from far away. The crowd is already momentarily forgetting the whole topic of the apocalypse, but Arata knows that there is a method in this madness. Kano finally reveals his plan based on the urban legend of the gym. A specific shot will activate a completely safe hidden space. Arata is stunned and demands to know how he knows the secret. Kano remembers the 10,000 points he spent on this trick. It's a bit embarrassing, but necessary for their survival. He prepares for the final shot from the half-court line. The ball rises through the air and sinks without touching the rim. The students cheer, convinced that they have been saved. They search the gym, but the hidden space is nowhere to be found. Harada confronts him, but Kano calmly states that he is not done yet. The final shot, he explains, is the real key to his salvation. Just when they thought they had a chance, desperation sets in again, and their timing couldn't be worse. There are monsters at the door. 3 monstrous beasts have found their hiding place. Caught between certain death outside, and, well, certain death inside, the crowd rushes toward the back exit in a desperate stampede. But Nozomi's faith in her brother remains unshakable. Arata and the others are desperately trying to barricade the door. All their hopes now rest on Kano's last and impossible shot. He throws the ball with absolute confidence. The whole gym holds its breath, watching the perfect arch of the ball. He plunges through the net without a sound, but his celebration is interrupted when the monsters finally burst in. The student's sanity collapses in the face of impending doom. Even Arata can only pray for the miracle to happen now, but Nozomi's faith in her older brother never wavers for a second. All eyes are fixed on the ball, his last shred of hope. It bounces off the board and lands with a flash of light. A system window confirms this. The ghost story was real. The monsters charge up, ready to smash them all, but they only find an empty gym. A lone basketball rolls to a stop at the creature's feet. The beast looks around completely bewildered. He breaks the ground in rage, unable to find his prey. From a hidden space, students observe, completely invisible. Relief and joy erupt as they realize that they have been saved. Kano gets a massive point bonus for his heroic rescue. Suddenly, he's the most popular kid in school. Funny how that works. Nozomi radiates pride, her belief in him completely vindicated. Arata approaches, offering a handshake and a sincere apology. The crowd is stunned. The school's lone wolf bows to another. Kano accepts, but focuses on those who are still in danger. His creator skill is activated, detecting Arata's high-ranking talent. Of course, Kano rejects the copy, saving his last space for a combat skill. Arata questions Kano's reckless methods despite the result. Kano just smiles, telling the genius too much. Seriously, relax. Then claim the treasure chest, the prize for completing the mission. The reward is a legendary weapon, the Bow of Light, Saranya. The other students are amazed and inspired by Kano's new power. But one girl, an archer named Shizuno, recognizes the bow she's always dreamed of. Kano approaches her and offers her the legendary weapon. She is completely nervous, barely managing to shake his hand. Her mind immediately jumps to marriage and children. Well, that escalated quickly, but Kano's only goal is to copy his shooting talent, with a bow to himself. A flash of light envelops him as the students watch in shock. Unlock a new class, the incredibly cool Ranger of Light. Fully equipped and ready for battle, he declares it's time to strike back. Elsewhere, a monster corners another terrified student. The beast plays with his prey, savoring the moment of terror. He scoffs, ready to deliver the final blow to the useless human, but a sudden arrow of light pierces his eye. The student looks up to see his savior as the monster collapses. From a nearby rooftop, Kano is ready, with his new bow tensioned. Between closes his eyes as he yells a warning to the boy below. More monsters emerge from the shadows surrounding the student. The system confirms that your bow has unlocked to new abilities. Kano prepares to unleash his new archery powers. Another student is captured, his friend screaming his name in desperation. Kano jumps off the building, a silent hunter against the sunset. He retracts his bow, charging an arrow with pure light. The shot flies accurate, a golden streak in the dying light. He finds his target, ending up with the monster in a burst of energy. He lands, warning the survivors to flee before it's too late. But even with this power, he knows that his low stats are a critical weakness. It steals your determination, knowing that there are no safe points in this reality. Throughout the city, points of light appear as stellar spirits gather. A system map updates your progress. Hundreds saved and 42,000 points won. The system confirms your progress. There is only one beast left. With O'Neill, he is exhausted, surrounded by the fallen monsters. With grim determination, he invokes his system storage. He has unlocked new weapons, but the prices are amazing. Turns out saving the world doesn't pay as well as I'd hoped. Find an expensive recovery potion, a necessary evil for the final fight. He spends the points and swallows it, increasing his strength. A surge of raw power runs through him, his eyes shining golden. He feels an infinite force, declaring that the potion is worth every point. With the clock ticking on his buff, he races towards the final battle. Elsewhere, the latest monster makes its move in the school library. The beast, a former professor, holds the library director, Riina, hostage. She demands to know how she discovered the library's hidden vault. He reveals that another teacher sold them to save his own skin. The traitor explains that the vault requires the authority of both to open. Riina angrily refuses, choosing loyalty over her own life. The monster mocks, ridiculing her for dying for a job. She explains that the treasures in the vault are the school's last line of defense. He reveals his true loyalty to a dark cult that gave him this power. Reina is horrified, realizing that the betrayal goes deeper than she imagined. The monster makes one last chilling threat to reclaim everything she protects, but her monologue is interrupted by a sudden arrow of light. The beast staggers backwards, taken completely by surprise by the ambush. A volley of arrows pierces his eyes, blinding him in a flash, but he regenerates, revealing a massive glowing eye on his chest. He roars, daring his hidden attacker to confront him directly. Kana responds to the call, digging his fist into the creature's weak spot. The resulting shockwave sends him flying backwards through the library. He lands ready for the second round when the traitor recognizes his face. Both the principal and the traitor are surprised to see the student not awake alive. Kano apologizes for being late, but the principal is grateful to be alive. He turns to the traitor, his eyes burning with cold fury. The cowardly teacher Farfuya, threatening Kano's academic future, but Kano promises to graduate with honors in kicking monster ass. The beast roars, his plans completely derailed by this one student. He can't comprehend the power that comes from an unawakened boy. With a furious onslaught, he decides to eliminate the anomaly first. The traitor panics, blaming Kano for making the situation worse. He tries to push Kano forward, a move that is becoming a bad habit for his teachers. Sure, Kano steps aside, leaving the coward to face his new friend alone. The monster's tentacles find their target, ending the traitor's career permanently. His last moments are spent in disbelief, defeated by his own pawn. The monster picks up his former ally, disgusted by his weakness. With a brutal final blow, the traitor is erased from existence. Kano casually remarks that they can't open the vault now. What a pity. The monster's eyes sparkle with pure, unadulterated rage. He grabs his head, realizing that he has just killed his only key. Deciding that its main objective is fulfilled, the beast prepares for a tactical retreat. He dismisses Kano as a nuisance. He doesn't have time for that, but Kano isn't going to let the final boss leave just like that. He lunges forward, his fist crackling with golden energy. The monster deploys a powerful shield, confident in its defenses. Kano's punch connects, sending a shockwave through the barrier. The beast taunts that his efforts are completely useless, but the shield shatters like glass under the overwhelming force. He follows through with a flurry of devastating blows. The monster flies out, crashing into bookshelves. He declares that Kano will become the new key to the Masmora. Reina is stunned, realizing that her power rivals that of the school principal. The monster regenerates, its rage fueling a new and stronger defense. The monster sums up, his rage focused on the boy in front of him. He rises into the air, declaring Kano an obstacle that must be removed. He promises to remember Kano's name for their next meeting. With a final threat, he escapes through the roof to fight another day. But Reina knows they can't let him escape with the dungeon key. She prepares to pursue him, determined to stop him at all costs. Kano stops her by suggesting they team up for this one. He quickly opens his system window, getting rid of his basketball talent. Copy a high-ranking jumping talent, spending points to increase its height. Pour even more points into speed and multiple jumps. After a 10,000 shopping spree, he's ready for an aerial battle. With his new interrupts his victory speech, awakens a powerful shield just as an arrow of light approaches. The beast scoffs, confident that its defenses will withstand from this distance. But the impact is much stronger than it had ever anticipated. He realizes with horror that the power of the arrow continues to grow. The impenetrable shield is shattered into a million pieces. He cannot comprehend the power behind this long-range attack. Kano appears in the sky with Queen in tow. The clean break is over. He prepares for a risky maneuver, using his new ally as a launching pad. With a powerful kick, he sends the director flying towards the beast. The monster prepares to counterattack, underestimating his new projectile. He tries to dodge, but his movements are suddenly slow. A strange sensation spreads through his body, slowing him down until he crawls. He realizes it too late. The arrow was covered with a paralyzing poison. Kano closes the distance, ready to end this once and for all. The beast can only watch as his doom descends from above. The monster is riddled with arrows, his body is blocked by the poison. The beast scoffs, claiming that Kano's desperate plan has completely failed. But Kano reveals that he sacrificed accuracy for a guaranteed hit, and uses his new jumping talent, closing the distance with a double jump. The monster is stunned, unable to comprehend the impossible movement. Kano smiles, revealing that this was all part of his master plan. The poison reaches its final stage, leaving the beast completely defenseless. Unleash a furious flurry of attacks, a whirlwind of golden energy. He declares that it is time for the monster to pay for his crimes. The beating continues, each blow a flash of righteous fury. The beast admits defeat, but promises to take Kano with her. But Kano scoffs as the monster plummets to earth. He looks up from the crater, realizing that Kano is not falling with him. He defies gravity again with a triple jump, a feat considered impossible. He lands with the force of a meteor, ready to end this. Then, he casually mentions that he can make 4. The monster's mind is officially shattered. With a decisive final stomp, the battle is finally over. The professor returns to his human form, laughing at his own death. He utters a classic villain monologue, promising that his cult will prevail. A system window confirms the death, rewarding Kano with points and 2 key items. Kano looks out into the changed world, knowing that his journey is far from over. The library director announces to the school that the danger has passed. The students at the shelter are stunned, their ridicule turns to shame. Meanwhile, in the gym, his new followers erupt in cheers for their hero, but Kano knows that this victory is only temporary. The clock of the end of the world has only been pushed back to 180 days. He tells the principal that there are still students in danger. She reveals that the vault is full of weapons, but it only has half of the code, but Kano's eyes light up. He has the other half. It's time for the loot. The director is completely taken aback by his sudden change in behavior. Inside the vault, Rina admits she got a little carried away with her promises. A cute robot pet welcomes you back to a world of truth and despair. The system explains the first genesis when the star spirits fell to Earth. These spirits granted humanity an infinite hope for the future, but the welcome screen shows a very different version of the Earth. The robot's eyes glow red, revealing the true countdown to the apocalypse. Kano watches a similar countdown, wondering if his knowledge is making him naive. The system explains that heroic acts can turn back the clock of the end of the world. Kano files this new information. First, he has to survive the present. He's in the test dungeon now, but with a scary new rule, there are no respawns. This change was not in its original design. Someone is rewriting the rules. He sits on his defeated enemies, contemplating the trial tower in front of him. Before facing the next boss, he decides to gather information. The system details the first crisis, controlling the inner star spirits. The second crisis was ecological, as nature itself turned against humanity. The third crisis was territorial, forcing the survivors to enter fortified cities. But the final fatal crisis came from within, when humanity turned against itself. Kano realizes that the story of the world is almost identical to the story of his game. With his knowledge confirmed as his greatest weapon, the following challenge appears. The elite bear king roars, ready to claim his next victim. His stats are overwhelming, a level 30 beast with a star rank of 69. But Kano stands his ground, blindfolded and completely unfazed. The ground shatters under the weight of the beast's burden. His eyes burn with a furious crimson light. Kano faces the attack head-on, his fist glowing with raw power. The beast digs in, tearing the forest floor with its claws. Suddenly, the monster sprouts a second head, both reeling with pain. Kano's punch connects with a bright flash of energy. The monster flies out, his arm wrapped in golden flames. The force of the blow sends Kano slamming backwards through the air. He meets the beast's charge with a devastating uppercut. The monster's claws shatter against the force of the blow. Kano grabs his huge arm, refusing to let go. He uses the monster's own momentum to swing it and throws it to the ground with devastating force. The beast roars in agony from the bottom of the crater, but Kano is already flying back for another attack. The monster can only stare in disbelief and rage. Under the light of a blood-red moon, the final act begins. The beast rises, his body riddled with wounds, ready for one last battle, but is instantly annihilated in a storm of rocks and energy. A system window confirms your victory and a meager reward. Kano scoffs at the low pay, but he knows his talents are a perfect match. He considers his future construction, planning to combine his skills. Suddenly, a voice praises him for his solo victory. A new challenger appears, but Kano dodges his attack with ease. The boy introduces himself as Akira, ready for a fight, but is recognized as Tsunaya, a rich kid from another class. Kano is stunned, demanding to know why he is here. He grabs the boy by asking him what happened to the other students. Tsunaya reveals the truth. Horrible. Everyone else is dead. Kano demands answers, but the survivor is too terrified to speak. He clutches his head, trying to block out the traumatic memories. The fear in her eyes is palpable. Her sanity is clearly breaking. Overwhelmed, he collapses, losing his lunch and his composure. Kano realizes that he can't let his one clue slip away. Take out an epic-grade healing potion from his. Her mind suddenly clear. He is stunned that Kano gives him an object that money can't buy. He admits that he used to look over his shoulder at Kano, unlike his so-called friends. Moved by this act of kindness, he declares them brothers for life. Kano just wanted some information, but hey, a rich friend isn't so bad. The system reveals the talent of Tsunaya, rich guy. You can't make these things up. Kano wonders if his new brother saw through his ulterior motives. With a clear mind, Tsunaya begins to tell what happened. He explains that it was a situation in which total annihilation was likely. They discarded the rule of not responding and divided into hunting groups, but the monsters they encountered were much stronger than expected. The students were completely overwhelmed by the sudden of difficulty. A huge plant creature trapped dozens on its deadly vines. They realized with horror that the rule of not reappearing was very, very real. Panic took hold, and the survivors scattered in all directions. But one person refused to run away, his ex, Sarah. He gathered the others together, declaring that fighting was his only way out. She faced the horde, ready to risk her life for her survival. Under his command, they won the battle, but at a terrible cost. The victory brought no relief, only a deeper sense of despair. The number of dead in the dungeon was already staggering. He cleans his sword, his resolve hardened by the loss. He sets his sights on the tower, but another student protests. A girl with pink hair begs him to wait for the teachers to arrive. But Sarah knows that this is not an accident. Something is terribly wrong. She correctly deduces that the outside world is facing the same crisis. She makes a silent vow to escape thinking about Kano. Meanwhile, another group of survivors is ambushed. The canisters release a strange purple gas into the air. They choke and collapse, realizing too late that it is poison. Zara fights the poison, the last one standing in the ambush. A mysterious armored figure appears praising his sharp instincts. Enraged, she leaps forward, ready to take down the source of the chaos. The figure is impressed, noticing that his talent is really unique, but his desperate attack is stopped with a single blow without effort. He declares that his future is not glory, but a dark and endless hell. Tsunaya explains that these soldiers took everyone, dead and alive. They were all dragged to the Black Tower under the blood-red moon. Kano tells his new friend to hide. He's going in to save him alone. But Tsunaya refuses, wanting to help her new brother-in-arms. Kano reminds him that he has billions to inherit. You can't be reckless with that kind of cash. Tsunaya admits that she is afraid, but she is done living a useless life. He learned the hard way that money can't buy survival, only time. Now he understands that true power is the only thing that matters. He begs to join the fight, promising that his expensive equipment will come in handy. Kano realizes that there are no NPCs in this world, only main characters. He accepts the offer, challenging the rich guy to prove his resolve. They charge the tower, a two-man army against impossible odds. They arrive at a huge sealed door, the entrance to the heart of the dungeon. Kino notices that the door is locked, even though the first stage is clear. He realizes that his mysterious friend Ten must be incredibly powerful. Tsunaya decides that diplomacy is overrated and pulls out a giant cannon. The system details your custom weapon, complete with a fatherly love defense upgrade. Unleash a barrage of rockets directly at the sealed door. The door explodes in a massive, fiery explosion. Tsunaya cheers, confident that he has flown across her path, but the gate begins to regenerate, repairing itself before her eyes. He prepares to fire again, ready to overwhelm his healing factor. Kano stops him, explaining that brute force will not work in this puzzle. He tells his new ally to wait while he prepares a different approach. Kano uses his jumping talent, climbing like a rocket up the side of the tower. Jump from one ledge to another, climbing the impossible height with ease. He lands gracefully on a platform hundreds of meters in the air. Kano watches the regenerating wall, realizing that this is a puzzle, not a fight. Tsunaya flies by his side, his hagpack barely keeping up with Kano's jumps. He boasts of his family's technology, complete with a parental authority security feature. The rich guy's high-tech gear is impressive, if a bit over the top. Suddenly, Tsunaya's tone changes to panic. A star spirit has disappeared. Someone just died. He explains that his glasses can sense spiritual energy, a birthday gift from his mother. Through them, he sees Kano radiating an incredible amount of power, but Kano is focused, knowing that they are running out of time to find a way in. Then a memory unleashes an idea, connecting the dots to a solution. Hidden. He tells his new friend that there is still one last chance to get in. With an active faith, he launches himself from the platform, plummeting down the face of the tower. Tanaya watches in horror, then relief, as Kano's fall turns into a controlled descent. Lands a precise hit on a seemingly random panel. He remembers his own design. Each password was set for a specific birthday. The first attempt fails, but he quickly moves to another combination. With the right entrance, a massive section of the tower wall opens up. They rush in, but Kano warns that the real challenge has just begun. He explains that with this master key, every door is now an entrance. The story changes to a memory, a rundown residential area on the outer wall of the city. A 7-year-old girl named Sitsuriagari explores the forbidden zone. He hopes to find a friend, and sees a child sitting on top of a ruined truck. He is an 8-year-old hockey canoeist intensely focused on one task. Carefully place a soda can in a pile of debris. With a flick of his finger, he sends a small pebble flying. The projectile is fired through the air with impossible speed and accuracy. He hits the can right in the center, and the young Setsura is completely captivated. He hesitates to approach, but the boy has already noticed that she is watching, but his exploration is interrupted by a monstrous beast. She stumbles backwards, her escape route cut off. Another creature, a giant rat, approaches to kill, but a light projectile whizzes past its head. Find your brand with pinpoint accuracy. Young Oki celebrates his perfect shot. His eyes are sharp. A wave his only weapon. She demands to know who she is and why she's here. Terrified, she apologizes, stating that she did not intend to do harm. He tells her to stop crying, calling this not a place for a rich kid, but admits that she is polite, so he does not dislike her. He moves with an agility that defies his age. He lands in front of her, offering a hand to help her up. She even offers to clean her dress. What a gentleman. She shyly accepts his kindness. He asks her name, and she introduces herself as a Heiser. She is surprised that he has never heard of her famous family. He declares that as long as she is with him, she will be safe. His cleaning attempt fails miserably. Doing laundry is not her forte. She insists that a little dirt is nothing to worry about. The boy is completely captivated by her spirit. He gives her a thumbs up, declaring her great. And with a handshake, a new friendship is forged. He promises to show her a special place. He finally introduces himself as Hoki Kanu, and she shyly says his name, Setsura Igar. He praises her name as they run off into the sunset, but their adventure takes a dark turn when they turn up kidnapped. They learn that his family refused the ransom, sealing his fate. The memory fades away, leaving only the cold resolution of the present. Sarah wakes up inside the dark tower, with her resolve intact. He realizes with a jolt that his gun is missing. She is in a vast chamber surrounded by her captured classmates. He checks his emergency contact device, one last hope, but there is no signal. They are completely isolated. A memory of a younger Kanari surfaces, a ghost from his past. Around her, panic spreads, but Sarah remains eerily calm. A desperate student tries to negotiate, pointing his finger at her. He claims that she is the real prize, the daughter of a powerful family. The others quickly join in, turning on their former leader. They call her a jinx. Her fear turns into guilt. The armored leader grabs the student, confirming his true objective. The boy's face lights up, believing that he is about to be released, but his hope is cut short in a single brutal movement. The remaining students can only watch in absolute terror. The leader declares that everyone is useful, even their corpses, both for a compensation package. He announces that they have enough sacrifices for the ritual to begin. The fallen are heaped up on a shining sacrificial altar. A soldier activates a huge and ominous machine. From its core, a hooded figure with red tendrils descends. A dark invocation begins. The ruins on the ground glow with power. A crimson horror erupts, consuming the bodies on the altar. It merges into a grotesque mass of flesh and screaming faces. The leader welcomes the survivors into the real world. Panic finally breaks them as they search for an escape that doesn't exist. A soldier deploys a shot grenade to control the chaos. A wave of energy floods them, stunning them into silence. But it's not a stunner. It is a catalyst for a monstrous transformation. The soldiers are overwhelmed by the new horde. The leader sighs, complaining about the noise, but ready to do his job. He moves to slaughter the new pack, starting with the nearest monster. The pink-haired girl collapses, overwhelmed by her own helplessness. But Sarah sees an opportunity in the chaos, an opportunity to strike back. His first goal is clear: to recover his confiscated gun. He concentrates his power, trying to draw the sword through his shield. The sword rests among a pile of other weapons waiting for its master. With a final push, the energy barrier is shattered. The effort wears her out, but she refuses to fall into a place like this. But his quiet rebellion is noticed by an armored guard. Suddenly, the pink-haired girl throws herself into the path of the attack. The soldier mocks his bravery, preparing to end his life, but a flash of light pierces the air, pointing directly at him. His arm is severed in an instant, his attack completely nullified. The projectile was a rotating blade of focused pure energy. With her sword in her hand, Sarah moves like a ghost through the chaos. The injured girl asks if she helped, finding strength in her sacrifice. Sarah thanks him for the opportunity, but the battle has just begun. She tells the others that cowering will only lead to her death. She leaps forward, determined to survive for the boy she once knew. The remaining soldiers open fire, ordering her to be shot down. But her sword meets the first bullet with a shower of sparks. She dances through the shooting, deflecting every shot. This is a skill she has perfected since she was a child. A memory resurfaces from his intense training at only 8 years old. At 13, he was already facing live ammunition without fear. At 17, he faced a minigun. That maid deserves a serious raise. His sword becomes a blur, a shield of impossible speed. In the present, he cuts both soldiers in one graceful stroke. The other students realize that their only chance is to follow his example. Inspired by his strength, they unite behind their new leader. Their bravery is contagious, and the students come together for one last stand. As she clears a path, Sarah wonders why she was attacked so quickly. The only logical conclusion: there is a traitor among them. But his investigation is interrupted by a new golden armored thread. The leader of the soldiers steps forward to take care of her personally. He complains that the fight makes him work overtime. A truly close villain, Sarah tries to bribe him to get information, but he is not interested in money. He lunges forward, declaring that what he wants is beyond his power to give. Her attack connects, making her stagger by brute force. He recognizes his potential, but dismisses his current strength as mere entertainment. He was unable to get answers, but his actions confirm that his suspicions were correct. Suddenly, a beep interrupts his deadly dance. Annoyed by the time, he jumps back, preparing to finish this quickly. Guilt over the inconvenience, his patience clearly exhausted, unleashes his true power, fueled by a deep hatred of working late. Wings of light sprout from his back as he charges his final attack. A sonic wave paralyzes everyone, their minds overwhelmed by pain. He declares that no one will interfere with his exit. He unleashes a devastating attack, cutting off everyone in his path. Sarah is left kneeling in the sequel, surrounded by the fallen. But even now, he refuses to give up reaching for his sword. He stops her, impressed by her unwavering will to survive. He holds his sword, noticing that it is an extension of his own soul. And then, by cruel chance, he breaks it in two. Her eyes widen in horror as her last hope is shattered before her. He holds her against the wall with the fragments of his own weapon. He mocks her, claiming that her own strength led to her downfall. But his eyes still burn with defiance and relentless anger. Suddenly, a new voice orders him to stop playing with his toy. It's the school bully William, asking if she regrets choosing Kano over him. Sarah's eyes are burning with rage. William was the traitor the whole time. He shamelessly admits it, slamming her to the ground. He gloats, savoring the sight of the school star at his feet. With a twisted smile, he promises that the real fun is just beginning. He pins her against the wall. Her last hope is fading, but even now, her will to fight remains intact. The soldier gives him 1 minute, a bonus paid for his cruelty. William declares that 1 minute is all he needs to make his mark. Suddenly, strange devices descend from the ceiling above. They crackle with an unknown and ominous energy. A blinding flash of light envelops the entire camera. Sarah's eyes widen, a flicker of recognition in the light. He finds himself in a new suit, a voice apologizing for being late. Kano has arrived by standing between her and the enemy. He crackles with power, promising death to anyone who harms his family. Sarah can only look at the back of her unexpected savior. He came for her, just like he did years ago. The soldier demands answers, stunned by the impossible intrusion. But William sees this as the perfect setting for his twisted revenge. He exposes a sadistic plan, driven by pure and unhinged jealousy. The soldier warns him, but William dismisses Kano as Rankel's trash. He asks if Kano is ready to accept his fate. Kano returns the question, his voice cold as ice. William attacks, ready to end the life of the unranked boy, but Kano dodges the attack with effortless grace. He stops the sword with his own hand, much to William's astonishment. With a sickening crack, it shatters the bones of the bully's hand. William screams, unable to comprehend this impossible force. Kano uses his opponent's own momentum against him and crashes him to the ground, a statement of absolute dominance. Kano gives a brutal lesson about consequences. William supposes a clemency that he never showed to anyone else, but his epic-class shield offers little protection against this beating. He screams for his contracted muscle to finally intervene, but the soldier explains that the murder was not in the contract. Gotta love a villain with a good work ethic. Desperate, William agrees to pay any price for Kano's head, but his priceless shield begins to crack under the relentless attack. It shatters completely, leaving him helpless in the face of Kano's fury. The other students watch their terror replaced by grim satisfaction. Sarah is captivated by the strength of the boy she once met. Just then, Tsunaya arrives with a gift from her new brother. Sarah is stunned, recognizing a sword of legendary quality. It's Ice Fang, an epic-grade sword with the power of ice. Tsunaya relays the plan. Kano will be the distraction. They use a smoke grenade to cover the students' escape. The soldiers are not fooled, quickly switching to thermal vision. But its advanced technology shows absolutely nothing. A moment later, a sniper shot knocks one of them down. It turns out that rich kid tech comes with some extra features. The remaining soldiers rush to block every possible exit, but Sarah plots a path, her new sword, a blur of icy steel. She promises to return for Kano once the others are safe. Back in the chamber, Kano's knuckles are bleeding, but his will is iron. William is a broken mess begging for a forgiveness he doesn't deserve. Kano reminds him of the lost lives, rejecting his pathetic excuses. The Golden Soldier finally makes his move, telling Kano to stop playing. But Kano sees the truth. This is just a delaying tactic. The soldier grabs William, using a healing skill to get him to move. William is surprised to be back on his feet, saved at the last second. As he flees, he promises a future of pain for Kano and his family. A voice crackles through his communications. The students are safe. Kano recognizes the message. The contemplations are over. Suddenly, a flurry of arrows streaks across the hallway. The soldier diverts them, obliged by his contract to protect the boy. But an arrow slips through their defenses, finding its true target. William can only watch in disbelief as his life comes to an end. Cone reveals himself, with his bow tensed, his verdict delivered. A system window confirms the death, rewarding him with points. He also acquires a piece of encrypted communication data and key to William's private collection. Scoring. The soldier casually rules out the death of his former client. He finally understands Kano's true motivation for the fight. He offers a twisted deal. Life is uprooted by his permanent separation. He pulls out his pistols, ready to enforce the new terms. Kano responds with a burst of light-infused arrows. The projectiles are in a bright flash of energy. The air crackles as bullets and arrows collide in a deadly dance. The soldier admits that he underestimated the power of the boy without rank. Kano moves like a ghost, dodging every shot. Annoyed, the soldier decides it's time to reveal his trump card. Detached to huge Gatling machine guns. Apparently, he's willing to work overtime. Unleash a torrent of lead, ready to get this over with. The bullets are going through the tower, a storm of pure destruction. Kano knows that his team is no match for this level of firepower, but he reveals a secret weapon that he collected from the vault. The soldier mocks him, believing that he is cornered and exhausted. He boasts that nothing can escape his 10 karma 000 bullets per minute. With a final threat, he prepares to sign for good. The bullets fall like rain, a seemingly inescapable burst, but Kano stands his ground, protected by a new kinetic energy barrier. The soldier scoffs, assuming that Sarah gave Kano the powerful shield. He claims that he finally understands Kano's motivation. He accuses Kano of being a freeloader, holding on to a rich girl for a better life. He boasts that his own experience will trump any cheap item. He darts forward, his stats revealing a respectable star rank of 46. Kano meets the charge. His own statistics reveal a combat power almost 3 times higher. Their fists connect in a blinding flash of golden light. Kano's punch lands true, staggering the armored mercenary. The soldier flies out, demanding to know Kano's true star rank. Kano casually reveals his statistics by calling them average. I love modesty. The soldier is stunned, unable to believe the impossible numbers. Kano tells him to confirm it for himself with a devastating downward blow. The blow shatters his helmet, revealing the face of a grizzled veteran. The impact cracks the very ground beneath them. He continues with a relentless flurry of punches. The soldier is fired through the wall of the tower. The wall explodes outward by the sheer force of the impact. Kano lands, watching his opponent being thrown into the sky. The soldier crashes back to earth, cursing the boy's name. He struggles to get up, his body and his pride completely shattered. Refusing defeat, he channels his remaining energy for one last sonic attack. But Kano has already armed himself by declaring that the soldier chose the wrong enemy. He asks if his enemy is ready for the end. The soldier can only laugh. The mercenary accepts his defeat, stating that he is not afraid of death. With his dying breath, he warns that his employers will take revenge. A system window confirms the death, rewarding Kano with points and a new item. The system details the soldier's high-powered Gatling machine gun and the statistics of his crippling sonic wings. But back in the main chamber, a new tremor shakes the tower. The hooded figure at the altar declares that the ritual is finally complete. The hooded figure screams, announcing the descent of an external god. A grotesque mass of flesh and skulls emerges from the altar. The roof of the tower shatters, revealing the blood-red moon above. Kano can only stare, a horrible realization dawning on him. A winged demon descends, and the clock of the end of the world is ticking 100 days. Outside, the other students see the final boss, their hope turns to ashes. Sarah feels the overwhelming pressure, wondering if this is really the end. But Tsunaya recovers, declaring her unwavering faith in her new brother. Nozomi's eyes burn with resolution. She knows her brother will win. Kino realizes that this is a hidden boss, something that is not in his original design. Remember the 12 powerful bosses of the Zodiac from the story of your game. They were end-game content, each with its own unique gimmick. He never thought that a cult could summon one, let alone in a trial dungeon, but the form of this creature is completely alien to him. The cultist offers the sacrifices, begging his new god to be strengthened. It is absorbed by the fleshy mass, a voluntary sacrifice for the cause. He screams in ecstasy, saying that it is an honor to be devoured. Some people have weird hobbies. The creature begins to absorb it, tendrils enveloping its body. His face contorts as his life force is drained from him. Kano knows that he has to stop his growth before he reaches his final form. He shoots an explosive arrow, but the creature dismisses it as useless. The cult member's face appears on the dough, demanding that Kano become the next meal. If the explosions don't work, Kano decides it's time for more firepower. He unleashes a torrent of lead from his new Gatling guns. The creature is torn apart, but the cult member inside prays for salvation. The bombing continues, a desperate attempt to stop the transformation. The true form of the creature finally consumes the fleshy core. He declares that his descent is complete, telling mortals to tremble. A massive shockwave of crimson energy erupts from the tower. In the sky above, the constellation of Scorpio begins to glow. The Zodiac boss reveals his true and terrifying form. He carries a devastating attack on his scorpion tail. A bolt of pure destruction streaks across the battlefield. But the attack is not aimed at Kano. It's for the students below. The boss unleashes a new wave of shady henchmen. A horde of shadow scorpions rises up to join the fight. The students are completely overwhelmed by the new arrivals. They are trapped in a ring of fire, their escape cut off. A student learns the hard way that this is no ordinary llama. The fire itself seems to be alive, consuming everything it touches. Tendrils sprout from the ground, dragging them to their doom. There is no escape from the monster's grip. As a student collapses, Sarah tells him to get up and fight. She traces a path by declaring that weakness is not an option. But the monsters regenerate, their hope turns to ashes. Tsunaya gathers them together, her fear replaced by a newfound courage. Nozomi stands firm, her faith in her brother absolute. Suddenly, a bright star descends from the heavens. It crashes into the battlefield with the force of a meteorite. Kano has arrived, apologizing for his dramatic entrance. A shock wave of pure energy gushes out of his landing. The students fly out, caught in the explosion, but a golden barrier is formed, protecting them from the chaos. Some are still skeptical, but Kano is already planning his next move. Sira asks for a plan, and Kano admits that he has a theory. He knows the weakness of the boss, but getting closer is the real challenge. Sarah sees the flaw. The boss is completely out of his league, but Tsunaya has a solution courtesy of his family's fortune. A pillar of golden light sprouts from a summoning circle. He summoned a giant robot because, of course, he did. Tsunaya reveals her secret weapon, a custom S-rank robot, but explains that it has a very expensive flaw. It works with stellar spirits that burn 10,000 every minute. Sarah points out that not even a corporation could maintain that cost. Tsunaya admits that she had to beg her father just to borrow it. He once saved up for a 30-second pleasure ride, the best 30 seconds of his life. Even with all her fortune, she can only feed him for 4 minutes. As the other students crumble, Kane weighs her options. He steals her resolution, knowing that this is his only chance. Suddenly, a system window confirms a transfer of 5,000. Tsunaya offers everything she has, hoping that 30 seconds will be enough. Kano turns to Sarah, who watches with concern. He reassures her, telling her not to blame herself for her choices. He tells Tsunaya to keep her points. He has enough for 4 minutes. The system confirms the link, deducting 40 karma 000 points from Kano's stash. His creator talent unlocks the robot's full battle potential. The machine's eyes are shining, totally in sync with its new pilot. She throws herself into the sky, while Tsunaya cheers on her new brother. Inside, Kano feels that the robot becomes an extension of his own body. He understands the price, but survival is his only goal. Their first priority is to eliminate threats on the ground. With bright blades, cut through the shady minions. The creatures melt under the avalanche of energy. The clays of the boss reveal sharp golden stingers. The system warns of a massive wave of incoming attacks. The robot dances through the assault, a blur of red and gold. Activate the Hive missile system, ready to clear the field. A rocket volley is launched from the shoulders of the robot. The battlefield erupts in a storm of fire and light. The boss backs away, and Kano knows he has to attack before he fully forms up. The robot's shoulder cannon is loaded, ready to fire. He unleashes a point-blank blast of pure energy, but the boss's dark aura corrodes the armor, leaving him with only 3 minutes. Kano decides to go all out, hitting the beast with maximum firepower, but the creature's huge claws block all the discharge. He changes tactics, activating the robot's attack protocol to overwhelm it with speed. A pair of shiny starburner wings sprout from his back. He makes his way through the monster's attacks, a red and gold blur. The beast's own defenses begin to crack under the pressure. The two titans face off in a storm of light and fury. Downstairs, Tsunaya and the others can only cheer for their new hero, but Sarah sees the truth. Kano is fighting like he has nothing to lose. She is overwhelmed with guilt, feeling like a burden to whom she wants to protect. The boss is not finished, loading a new attack on his massive stinger. Unleashes a burst of deadly energy rays from the sky. The robot's wings are damaged, its speed advantage is completely gone. It awakens a last-minute defense, a powerful energy shield. Kano steals his resolve, ready to keep going until the barrier is broken. With only 1 minute of energy remaining, charge head-on, and use the shield as a battering ram against the monster's stinger. The golden barrier begins to crack under the immense tension. It is shattered, but not before Kano achieves his true goal, immobilizing the beast. With the enemy pinned down, he prepares for a decisive final blow. The robot activates its last protocol, its ultimate weapon. A massive cannon begins to charge, absorbing all available energy. The boss strikes back, preparing a final attack of his own. Kano unleashes the Star Judgment, a ray of pure cosmic energy. It comes down from the heavens, a pillar of absolute destruction. The zodiacal boss is caught in the explosion, his form disintegrating. He can only scream while being erased from existence by the overwhelming light. The students can't believe that Kano just destroyed the final boss. A system window confirms his victory and opens an exit door from the dungeon. Relief turns to celebration as they praise their new hero, their Naya and radio pride. Their faith in their new brother fully rewarded. Sarah watches, a silent smile confirming that she has exceeded all her expectations. But the victory came at a cost. The robot's power is running out. Kano is forcibly expelled. The system wishes him good luck. Thanks for nothing. As he falls, a piece of the robot's armor flies towards him. It's a gauntlet, a final gift from the machine. He catches it, a souvenir of his very expensive walk. Now all he has to do is survive the fall from orbit. Suddenly, a strange feeling invades him. A wave of pain and weakness paralyzes him in the air. The system announces a special overexertion debuff. For 10 minutes, all his abilities are blocked. He is completely powerless. Down below, his friends realize that their descent is not coming undone. Accelerating. Tsunaya connects the dots. It's a side effect of piloting the robot. Turn on your hackpack, ready for a heroic rescue. He throws himself into the sky, promising to save his new brother. Sarah prepares to follow him. She is not willing to be left behind. Meanwhile, the other students are gathered at the exit portal, but their only escape route begins to shrink before their eyes. A student points to the sky. A new horror is looming over them. The zodiacal boss wasn't destroyed, it was just regenerating. An error message appears. The door is closing in 100 seconds. Panic breaks out as the students run towards the exit. The girl with the pink hair stays behind, begging for someone to help her. Sarah runs to his side, refusing to leave anyone behind, but she knows the shrinking door means she can't save them all. Gather the survivors preparing for a desperate last stand. The girl with the pink hair asks Sarah about the plan, but suddenly she flies out into the air. Sarah's plan is simple: throw her to a safe place. The other students can only stare in disbelief. This is definitely a way to evacuate your allies. The crowd is stunned by the unconventional rescue. They land safely in a protective field, grateful but bruised. Sarah stands firm, honoring Kano's sacrifice. He promises to get each and every one of them out alive. Meanwhile, Kano accepts his fate as the door closes. He tells his friends to escape without him, but the sting of the zodiacal boss descends for the final blow. Tsunaya intercepts the attack, turning into a human shield. The impact shatters the ground beneath them. Kano is surprised to find himself still breathing. Tsunaya apologizes for forgetting the side effects of the robot. He says it was worth it if it meant saving everyone. I wanted Kano to live more than anything, but it's not over yet. He's got one more trick up his sleeve. Summon a high-tech motorcycle. Rich kids have the best toys. With his flight suit destroyed, this is his only way out. They run towards the door that closes at maximum speed. His escape window is shrinking by the second. They cross the battlefield, leaving a trail of dust. But Tsunaya sees Sira, who was left behind. Kano tells him not to stop. He'll take care of it. Sarah extends her hand as the bike approaches. Kano grabs his hand. His timing is perfect. He gets her on board with a single fluid motion. Now, as a trio, they make their final run to freedom. Sarah admits that she is tired of him always leaving her behind. He hugs her tightly, promising that this time he will not go anywhere. But Tsunaya interrupts the meeting. The portal will close in 10 seconds. He tells them to hold on tight. With one turn of the accelerator, he takes the bike to its absolute limit. It's a desperate final race to the finish. They run towards the shrinking portal, their only way out of this hell. But the boss of the Zodiac has one last parting gift for them. A final attack shatters the ground, blocking his path. A huge abyss opens. The dungeon refuses to let them go, but Tsunaya is not going to let a small cannon stop him. He reveals that the bike has a fighter jet engine. Why wouldn't I have it? They soar through the air, a blur of light against the blood-red moon, but Tsunaya realizes she may have given in about the jet engine. They crash hard, their last hopes come to a halt. The portal countdown reaches 5 seconds. The bike is wrecked, his grand escape plan gone up in smoke. Kano takes on Tsunaya, who blames himself for his failure. Sarah can only watch, feeling powerless to help. With 1 second remaining, they accept their fate. They're not going to make it. Suddenly, a strange device appears that stabilizes the portal. The door expands, held open by an invisible force. The trio can only watch, stunned by their last-second rescue. A figure emerges from the light, the director of the Astella Academy. He commends the 3 students for their incredible bravery. He tells them that their part is over. The teachers will take care of it from now on. An elite team of instructors moves to contain the core of the dungeon. They begin a powerful sealing ritual around the unstable energy, but the core continues to increase, its power becomes stronger. The director prepares to intervene, promising not to fail again. The director releases his own power, a torrent of golden energy, summons a ring of swords to surround the unstable core of the dungeon. With a single command, the swords converge, sealing the dark energy. Chaotic power is compressed into a stable and harmless form. Tsunaya is officially the director's #1 fan. The powerful man approaches Kano, his expression unreadable. Place a firm, heavy hand on the boy's shoulder. He thanks Kano for his bravery as the system reveals his incredible stats. Kano tries to stay calm, but his system reminds him that he can't afford this talent. The director dismisses them, promising that their actions will be remembered. The 3 survivors finally walk towards the exit portal. Kano notes that the director's power comes from skill, not just rank. They pass through the light, leaving the horrors of the dungeon behind. A warm golden light welcomes you back to the real world. Kano emerges, and the first voice he hears is that of his sisters. Nozomi runs into his arms, overwhelmed with relief. A huge crowd erupts and Victor is for his new savior. She reminds him that they have an audience, But he doesn't seem to mind. He hugs her tighter, vowing never to let go of her again. With a gentle smile, he finally calms her fears. Look at the crowd, it's not just a background character anymore. The end of the world clock confirms that their victory has given them almost 3 years. But behind the scenes, some see Canon not as a hero, but as a threat. The director orders a complete analysis of the boy who defied all logic. His expression hardens as he turns to his next priority. He declares a full-scale purge of the traitors within the academy. He promises that the cult will pay dearly for his attack. The news reports about the incident. The public is not aware of the real danger. The scene changes to a quiet convenience store in the lower district. Inside, a familiar voice welcomes the two brothers home. Their mother hugs them tightly, relieved to have them safely at home. His father ira with pride, congratulating Kano for saving the academy. A feast is served at the table, a celebration of their survival. For the first time, Nozomi indulges her brother, filling his bowl with food. Her parents tease her, wondering when she stopped bullying him. Nozomi gets nervous, insisting that she has always been the perfect little sister. A quick flashback suggests that his definition of kind involved a lot of hitting. Kano just smiles, soaking in a moment of peace he thought he had lost forever. He recalls his humble life, running a small convenience store, and the sacrifices his parents made to send them to an elite academy. This simple happiness is what he is fighting for, and he will not allow it to be destroyed again, but he knows that his victory has put a target on his back, and he must become stronger. The scene changes to the huge and opulent estate of the Igarashi family. Inside, Sarah contemplates the terrible events of the day. She sits alone in the moonlight, a world away from Kano's warm home. A maid brings her dinner, informing her that her parents are at a party. Sarah waves her off with a gesture, her mind clearly elsewhere. The maid explains that her parents were worried, but the party was inevitable. Sarah scoffs at the idea, her eyes cold and distant. The maid can only observe his concern for the palpable young woman. Sarah asks to be left alone, and the maid quickly agrees. She knows that William's powerful family will seek revenge against Kano. He tries to access his family's database to get information about the cult, but discovers that his access is completely blocked by a high-level restriction. Even his authority is useless against this level of secrecy. She holds her sword, feeling the familiar sting of being unable to protect him. She vows to become strong enough to stand by his side, not behind him. Elsewhere, at the headquarters of Amiya Heavy Industries, a report is given about Tsunaya, who has been asleep since he returned home. His staff gossip about how the incident has changed him for the better. Apparently, trauma builds character. Back in her family's attic, Tsunaya is unconscious, but even in her dream, she smiles, promising to become stronger. The city moves on, unaware of the battle that has just saved it, and the clock of the end of the world continues its relentless countdown. At a press conference, the director takes full responsibility for the attack. He admits that his absence was a critical failure and offers a sincere apology. He then lays out his 3-part plan for the future. First, full compensation for the families of each victim. Secondly, a large-scale investigation to purge the Academy of Traitors. And thirdly, a massive reward for the heads of the cult of the heretical gods. The crowd is stunned by the unprecedented reward of 5,000. With sparkling eyes, the director officially declares war. The government does the same, launching its own citywide investigation. Even university entrance exams are postponed for the safety of the public. 3 days later, Stella Academy is already being rebuilt. The director reveals that his team conducted simulations of the incident. The projections were catastrophic, an almost total annihilation of the students, but the actual results were a miracle, with drastically lower casualties. A miracle explains that it's all thanks to one person. He summoned the 3 heroes to his office, pointing to Kano. Kano tries to share the credit, but his friends know the truth. Tsunaya insists they were just support. Kano was the one who saved everyone. The director agrees, telling the boy that it's time to accept his reward. It grants Kano 10 karma 000 points and full access to the Academy's treasure. Sarah receives 7 karma 000 points and the rights to a Powerful weapon. Tsunaya gets 4 karma 000 points and a blank check for all her broken toys. The principal seems particularly relieved that the rich kid is satisfied. He asks if they accept, and the 3 raise their hands in unison, but he misinterprets the room, asking if their rewards are too small. Zara raises her voice declaring that she is not worthy and her points should go to Kano. The director declares his pride and grants them 4 days off. But when they leave, Kano turns around with one last question. Question about the director's conveniently scheduled business trip. The powerful man's expression hardens for a moment. He then blithely declares that the information is top secret. Outside, Tsunaya is still complaining that Sara gave away her points. But Sara agrees, promising to become strong enough to stand by Kano's side. Suddenly, a system window announces a massive transfer of Tsunaya points. Kano is stunned by the sheer size of the gift. He immediately accuses the rich boy of stealing from his own father. Tsunaya explains that she just shook all the other students for their rewards. A true philanthropist, he proudly declares that he cannot allow his new brother to suffer a loss. Kano keeps walking, leaving his 2 new allies to sort out his priorities. But in his mind, he reveals that he already knows the director's secret. Thanks to his friend X's map, no corner of the academy is hidden. He even knows the real overwhelming power of the director, and the classified information in his terminal, a new S-class dungeon.